imagined that UFOs have been retrieved and their technologies put to use. In this exclusive interview, Mitchell expands on his reasoning with Hami Masan and reaches some profound conclusions.
There is a new reality, a reality that hasn't been accepted by science. The possibility of in the Earth to be visited by some other intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that?
Well, let's break that issue into two parts. Until the last 20 years, both in science and in theology, the idea that we were alone in the universe was the prevalent conventional wisdom. It was even stated at the beginning of the space age by the British astronomer Fred Hoyle, who said Copernicus disabused us of the idea 500 years ago that we were the geometric center of the universe, but we still insist on believing we're the biological center of the universe. When I went to the moon in 1971, it was still conventional wisdom, both in science and in theology, that we were the biological center of the universe. No one believes that anymore. The model that I propose, which I call my dyadic model, in which I write about in my book, The Way of the Explorer, suggests that that life in the universe is evolved everywhere that environmental conditions permitted, which means that life could have been somewhere, even in our galaxy, 1 billion or so years before us, possible. And there will be life forming in the universe 1 billion years after us or longer. The question is, have they found us? We haven't found them yet, but have they found us? Mathematical studies of the size of the universe and the ability to evolve and travel the universe suggested any civilization 500 million years older than ours could very well have traveled through the universe and found us. So, it is a possibility. Now the question, have they? There is no, what I call smoking gun evidence in the public domain that says yes. But we have an enormous amount of anomaly, so-called UFO sightings. We have a great deal of circumstantial evidence that says we have been visited and that the official agencies responsible for investigating this have covered it up. I have no first-hand experience here. What experience I do have is talking with people in the American government, both in the military and in intelligence, whose official duties were a part of the investigation. And they say yes. What our current effort is involved with is to get these people who have had experience over the last 30 or 40 years with these events to be able to come forward and speak openly before our Congress about what they did and what they know and what their experience was. All of these people operated under high security clearance and were not permitted officially at the time to talk about what was going on. It is now time to do that. And so our effort, mine and those of many of my colleagues, is to get this knowledge, whatever it is, made available to the public. It's not a simple phenomenon we're dealing with here. Personally, I think that the evidence says yes, but it even more than that. I think the evidence says that alien technology has been utilized by people on Earth, and that perhaps many of the sightings that people around the world are making now are not due to alien technology, to aliens, but to humans using an alien technology. That seems to be where the evidence points right now. Can I prove that? Can I confirm that? No. But the evidence is becoming so overwhelming. We also know, and I work with very high-level people who do know, we don't have those types of technologies in earthbound arsenals, military. They don't have it. So where's it coming from? Who has it? And it's not apparently all alien. There is reason to believe that some technology has been utilized by perhaps government and military people. On the other hand, our current government and military is totally naive about this. In other words, it's been separated away from government. And that's very alarming.
Why do you think this reality was separated from the people?
Historically, it goes back to shortly after World War II. And if there were, and I say if, there was a crash at Roswell, New Mexico, as claimed, the evidence seemed to suggest there was, then there was reason probably for the government to classify this very highly. People would be afraid. The military would have to admit we can't defend against alien presence, and there needed time to think about it and to decide what to do. But as often happens when you classify secret or very high secret classifications, very soon politicians and temporary people in government aren't considered reliable enough to have that information. So suddenly they're excluded from the information, and it becomes a very tight group of people who have the knowledge. And all of a sudden power exerts itself. That seems to have happened. And it seems that about 30 years ago, high-level politicians, leadership, presidents, high-level military officer no longer were given access to the information. And it became a clandestine group. That seems to be what's happened. And if so, it's very dangerous, because no government of the world has control of it. Not even the U.S. We blame the U.S. government, but I know the U.S. government leadership is naive. They do not know. But something's happening here. Someone knows. Someone is doing this, and I don't believe it's all ET.